Hello everyone, welcome into the studios today, Brooke Woods. Brooke, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing what you do.
Well, thank you, sir. It's something, unfortunately, that has to be done.
Yeah. Life can be full of trials, it really can, and a lot of people face more than others. And experience in life brings you to a point where hopefully, where you can plug into life and help others, and that's what you've done, Brooke. You
Well,
help
thank you.
others.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, moving right along. So Brooke Woods with Stepping Stones, you may know that, you may not, but for those of you who don't know Brooke, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been with Stepping Stone now for almost 10 years as the director, and just been working there trying to raise awareness around child abuse as well as sexual assault just recently, as we became a sexual assault center as well. Lived in Dublin for a long time, since about 1999, and have 4 children, 2 that are in college and 2 that are at high school at West Lawrence.
Yeah. We have a lot of good events coming up next week. We had one, on the 7th?
Yes, it
Couple
was
days ago?
That's right, that's correct.
Yeah. Let's talk about the month of April and nationally,
Okay.
as well as locally, what's going on with you?
So April is Child Abuse Awareness Month, as well as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So we try to promote child abuse prevention during the month of April, and try to get the word out about things that people can do to help prevent child abuse. But we also want to bring awareness to sexual assault. So as most of you have probably seen over the years, we put pinwheels out in front of the VA hospital on the hill, and those represent the number of cases that were reported in Lawrence County in the past year. So we put that in the shape of 482 this year. And that's how many cases came through as reported child abuse cases in Lawrence County.
Good God Almighty.
Yep, it's a lot. But we're doing some fun things this month to try to bring awareness and to try to do a little fundraising for Stepping Stone. Charity Strickland held a Painting for Prevention event last Wednesday at the Market on Madison. We had a great turnout for that. That was something new that Emily Brookshire, who is a new client service coordinator at Stepping Stone, she has come up with a lot of these events and promoted those. And next Tuesday is our Child Abuse Prevention Luncheon, which we've been doing for many years now. And the Dublin Exchange Club helps us with that. They're one of the sponsors of that, as well as a lot of other businesses in the community that help sponsor the event.
We'll back up just a second now. A decade you've been with Stepping Stone. You came in and it was pretty much you.
Yes, sir. Yes. When I first started, I was the only employee there. So over the years, we have been able to obtain more funding and increase our those that work with our children and provide services.
And the only way to do that is to help more people, isn't it?
Yes. As we've gained staff, we've definitely been able to help more people.
I think it was the reverse.
What's that?
Excuse me. You helped more people, and then you were able to get more staff.
Correct.
Thank you again.
Yes.
So when you round that corner, you come down Veterans, and you see all those pinwheels, and you know what it means. That's tough.
Yes. Basically we see on an average 1 or 2 children a day, if you think about it. That number has ranged over the years between 400 and at its highest point, I think it was closer to 700. Now COVID brought forth some unique situations. The kids were not in front of what we call their trusted adults. They weren't in school a lot in the last year, so they didn't have coaches and teachers and Sunday school teachers checking in on them. So we think that is the reason that the reports from 2019 to 2020 went down.
Yeah. So you're telling me that the trusted adult is not in the home in these situations?
A lot of times, no. Now, sometimes, and we do find that children will go to their parents if something is happening outside of the home or somebody's hurting them outside of the home. But unfortunately, in the majority of cases, the child knows the perpetrator. A lot of times they are a family member or a trusted friend of the family. And so they report to their teachers a lot of times. They report to counselors, to coaches, Sunday school teachers, a grandparent or an aunt, just another adult that is not in the home. And so with COVID and things being so different, that has really changed the dynamics of these children being able to report what's going on.
How does one avoid that for their child?
I think we have to be real transparent with our children and start talking with them at a fairly young age about protecting their body and about that they have the right to protect their body and to tell, just to give them the strength and the confidence to say, you can come to me if something even just makes you uncomfortable.
Right.
Because everyone's comfort level is a little different. But we need to let our children know that it's okay to tell, it's okay to say no to an adult, which is very difficult because, living in the South, you grow up being told that you say yes ma'am, no ma'am, you do what an adult tells you to do. And that is true in most cases, but sometimes it is those trusted adults that are hurting our children. So
What do you call a fairly young age?
to start talking about talking about things, I would say probably around 5. We have coloring books at the center, and it's more, you're not going to be as upfront with them as you would, an 8 or a 10-year-old, but just learning about their bodies and learning that it's not appropriate for other people to touch or see, the private areas of their body. Yeah. Obviously, you have to talk to them on whatever level they are on. Yeah. But we interview children as young as 3 years old, which is very difficult because they have no understanding really of the issue. Yeah. But they really probably at that age don't even know that what's happening is wrong. Right. They just don't have the cognitive ability to understand that. Mm-hmm. They just know that it's something different, and it's not necessarily something that feels good. So.
Take a short break and be right back.
I'm Don Carswell of Dublin Nissan. The new year brings new savings on your favorite Nissans.
This Dublin Nissan Versa SR is only $17,942.
And remember, Don sells cars well, only at Dublin Nissan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dustin Gay. I'm a local orthopedic surgeon with Houston Clinic Orthopedics, and we'd really like to invite everybody to come out to our new office facility to take a look at it. It's a larger space with physical therapy, and we're just excited to have it, and we'd love for people to come out and visit us.
Come by and see us today at our brand new location, the Houston Clinic, Medical Drive in Dublin.
Brooke, with the events that come along in the next week, month, let's talk about what's coming up.
Okay. So next Tuesday, like I mentioned, is the Child Abuse Prevention Luncheon, and that's going to be held at the Market on Madison, so that we'll be outside and we can safely, socially distance from one another. We are going to have a silent auction at that event, and we'll have some flower pots that different people have painted in the community. Some children, some high school students paint those. We fill them with flowers, and people usually donate and take those home with them. On the 21st, we're having a wellness activity, yoga, and that's going to be fun. That's going to be held out at Stepping Stone, and that's with Buffy Walker's going to be leading that. So that'll be a good, fun event for people to get involved in. And then we've been having some community conversations on Facebook, and I believe that's the 27th, where there will be someone from Stepping Stone that is presenting information on child abuse prevention and sexual assault awareness. And that's something that we'll continue throughout the year, is having those conversations on Facebook.
Yeah. I have to ask you, Brooke, why a pinwheel?
A pinwheel is recognized, across the nation really as is representative of child abuse prevention. I guess you can think of it in lots of different ways, but a representation of childhood.
Yeah.
You see those spinning in the wind, and I think many people by this point realize that what it stands for is child abuse prevention. So we do put those out every year, and often people will ask, and look to see, how many the number is as far as the pinwheels, to see how much the number has changed.
And it's only a representation.
Yes, that number really is probably way smaller than actual abuse that happens, because a lot of children do not report their abuse, and if they do, they don't report it until they're much older, or sometimes even when they're an adult.
So sad.
Yep. And unfortunately, we see adults that come in with their children that were abused as a child, and they've just carried that trauma throughout their life, and never really come forth to tell anyone about it.
Yeah. And it's very strange to most people I trust that why wouldn't you come forward immediately?
I think for a lot of children, there's a lot of shame that goes along with it. They're embarrassed, they're shamed, they feel like they did something wrong or it's their fault. So there's a lot of just dynamics that go into abuse. And again, with it being someone that they love and trust, that's difficult for a child to understand. Why would this person hurt me? And if you have an adult that has done this before, they know the types of things to tell the children so that they don't tell. Sometimes they're scared. Sometimes they love the person and they don't want to get them in trouble. They might be told something by the perpetrator that prevents them from telling.
That's usually the case, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. They manipulate them.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, what would you say to someone like that, Brooke?
That hasn't told. What we see a lot of times is as the children grow and they develop and they start to develop relationships with other people, a lot of times they'll begin to realize that what was going on in their home was not necessarily a normal thing. And we see a lot that that children will get to a certain age and they will confide in a friend, or a situation will come up where a friend might say, they were abused, and that allows that child to say, oh, that happened to me too. Because nobody wants to feel different or feel like, this awful thing has happened to me.
Yeah.
What did I do to deserve that?
Yeah.
Or bring that upon myself? So I think there's connection and there's healing when you are able to talk with someone that has been through something similar.
That's right. A person has to understand it's not their fault.
No. And we recently started a teen support group, and it is going really well. Emily Brookshire, again, and one of our interns that we have are meeting with, there's between 3 to 6, I would say, teenagers that are involved in it, and they're able to share with one another their experience, how they're feeling, and really just bond, unfortunately, over a traumatic event, but also get to know each other on a level that doesn't relate to their abuse. So just become friends and become individuals that can share with one another.
To move on.
Yes.
To heal.
Correct.
Yeah. And I have to admit, Brooke, I have to admit my guilt on avoiding situations or conversations like this because it's not comfortable. I don't want to hear about it. But ladies and gentlemen, we must hear about it and we must share with others
Yes,
so that it doesn't happen
correct.
as much.
Correct.
I mean, there's always going to be an element of evil.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
we have to stomp it out.
Absolutely, and I think that's part of the issue, just like you said, is people don't want to talk about it,
Right.
and they don't want to admit that it happens in our community. And it's nothing that our community has done wrong. It's just the fact that it happens everywhere,
Yeah.
and we have to open our eyes and realize that even though we are a small southern rural community in Georgia, these evil things do continue to happen. And we have to speak up about it, and speak to our children about it so they feel confident if something does happen to them.
Yeah. So we'll take another short break and tell you how you can make a difference
When the
we come
power's
back.
out, you're out of business. But with natural gas, with the city of Dublin, when the power's out, you can still cook on your gas stove or shower with your gas hot water heater or even fire up the grill. Plus save money every single day because natural gas costs half the price of electricity and propane. Start saving today with the City of Dublin Natural Gas. Call Brad Grimes at 277-5048 and you'll never be out of business with natural gas.
Hello, my name is Steve Hardeman, and I'm the lead pastor of the Dublin Church of God. We want to give you a special invitation to come and visit us here in house. On Sundays, it's at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m., and Wednesday nights, it's at 7 p.m. Our church is located in 1059 Claxton Dairy Road in Dublin, Georgia. We are a church that ministers to the whole family to give them hope, to counsel, to love, and a place to grow. We invite you to join us on our spiritual journey. We're looking for that blessed hope in the glorious appearance of our great God and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Back with Brooke. Brooke, you know, again, I'm uncomfortable with the situation, but that doesn't change the situation. And you may be uncomfortable with the situation because you don't want to address it, or, you know, it's just so terrible that you don't want to think about things that are this terrible.
Right.
But we must. And as a community, we have an opportunity to help, don't we?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So you have some sponsorship levels for this month and throughout the year that you want to share, don't you?
Yes, and we are always looking for help. Obviously, as a nonprofit, we have to raise money to be able to provide these services, and all the services we provide are free of charge. And so, throughout COVID, our donations and our fundraising have been down. So we are having the event this year in hopes to raise some funds so that we can continue providing services in the community. But you can get an individual ticket for the event for $25. Then we have 4 different levels of sponsorship. So you can get a sponsorship for $100, $250, $500, or even $1,000. And those sponsorship levels come with tickets to the event. And so it's just a way that our community can get out and support these individuals, these children and adults that have been affected by abuse and assault.
Yeah.
And it helps us just to be able to continue providing those needed services throughout the community.
Yeah, yeah. And as little as 25, as much as 1,000. We're all at different points in our life, and if you just look into your conscience and determine what you could do, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. You don't have to attend even.
Correct. Yes, you can just sponsor the event if you'd like to. A lot of times we will give those tickets that are available to our law enforcement agencies and to the Department of Family and Children Services. So
Yeah.
we like to be able to have tickets for them so that they can attend the event. But even if it's just something you wanted to do once a year or a couple of times a year, we have a Facebook page, we have a website, Stepping Stone CAC, and throughout the year we are in need of support. So it really does, when a child comes to the center, it really does change, I think, the trajectory of the experience that they've had. they do feel some relief by getting it out in the open and telling someone. So there is some comfort that comes with that. And being able to have a counselor that is trained in trauma counseling to deal with those issues is what all this money goes towards that we raise.
Yeah, so let's back up a minute now. Many people think they're a counselor. Many people think they can talk to their child, a pastor, school teacher, friend. You know, they think they can handle it.
Right.
But that's not the case.
No, in situations like this, you really need a counselor that's specialized in trauma-focused therapy.
Yeah.
And we have some great counselors in our community and in surrounding communities that they've specifically been trained how to deal with child abuse and sexual assault victims, how to deal with trauma, and how to deal with the effects that it really has on the entire family when something like this happens.
Yeah. Don't sweep it under the rug.
No, that's the worst thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
Because it will raise its ugly head at some point.
Yeah. And it's magnified, isn't it?
Yes.
I can only imagine.
Yes. That just festers and grows the longer you keep it silent.
Yeah. So come on out with it, ladies and gentlemen, and do your part. If you can't attend the event this next week, you can make a difference.
Absolutely.
If you watch this show and later on you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it, then you can make a difference. You can go online. Tell them about the website and Facebook.
Yes, you can go online at Stepping Stone CAC, that stands for Child Advocacy Center, and you can also go on Facebook. I believe there are spots on both of those that allow you to donate, or you can always call our center 478-275-9010. You know, even if it's a $10 monthly donation, any amount helps us be able to provide services.
I love it when you give the phone number and they can do it the good old-fashioned
That's
way.
right, because
Pick
not
up the
everybody
phone and call.
wants to use the computer, and I understand that.
Oh, yeah. So, Brooke, again, thank you so much. We look forward to covering the event in the coming days and sharing it with you, ladies and gentlemen. Why did you choose this profession?
I really felt a calling after serving on a jury that convicted someone of child molestation. I just felt the Lord was really calling me to this job, and it, you know, the Lord's hand was in it throughout, and I was just in a position at that time where I felt like I could take on this role. I've always enjoyed helping children. Wanted to be a counselor myself. Used to be a school teacher, have done a lot of tutoring. So it kind of just fit naturally into the things that I enjoy doing.
Brooke, I could easily ask you what's a story of a worse scenario, but let's talk about one of the best.
Okay. Right here in our community, we've had several victims that now are just doing really well. They came forth regarding their abuse, and they have grown from what happened with them. They're strong, they're survivors. They're out there telling other people about what happened to them, which is very helpful to other people that have had similar experiences. Those are the kind of things that you see, and you rejoice in knowing that you may have played a small part in them being victorious over something that was probably the worst time in their life. But they come to a point where they accept it as part of their journey, and they're able to, you know, give other people comfort that have been through it too. Victors, not victims. Yes, exactly. That's what we're striving for every day.
Yeah. Thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Brooke Woods. Child advocacy and sexual assault is something we all must address. We have to look at it, and we have to deal with it, and we have to do what we can to alleviate it from our society. And we appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we ask people to come along beside you and lift you up.
Yes, please do.